Vinyl community, Beach Boys fans, random people on the internet. My name is Giggens, and today we're going to do another Beach Boys album, this time jumping around a little bit. We're going to talk about 1971's Surf's Up album. Right off the bat, this is definitely one of their stronger albums from the 70s. At the time, very important album for them to have made and released, trying to ensure a future for a band very much in flux and in transition, trying to figure out their placement in the world. So, let's back up a little bit, shall we? A little bit of history. By the time this album came out, Smile was a myth. It was just this thing that existed in the background that people remembered hearing about. It never happened. The next few albums, the Beach Boys kind of pilfered a couple songs out of it, trying to finish their contract with Capitol. They ended up going to Warner Brothers and put out a very good album called Sunflower that tanked commercially. Critically, it did really well. Critics were like, alright, this is a good album. Commercially, went to 151 on the charts, which was basically like commercial death. So they were like, alright, we gotta figure out something here, because they recorded a crazy amount of songs in between 1969 and 1971, enough to fill probably 2 albums or 3 albums. And so they're like, alright, we need help. They found this guy named Jack Reiley, and he was a DJ and kind of hip and current with what was going on in the music scene. And so what he did was he was hired as their manager, and he took what the Beach Boys were doing and tried to make them commercial again. Commercial in a way that people would want to buy their albums. Not in a sellout sort of way. It was in a, let's make an artistic statement as a current band that has something to say and people should hear them. The result were sessions that turned into what became the Surf's Up album, which at the time peaked at number 29 in the charts, was their best charting album since Wild Honey in 1967. The whole idea of the band at this point was, again, they're continuing the everybody write a song thing, and produced by the Beach Boys, but they started playing like the Big Sur Folk Festival, and they had gotten a couple of gigs opening for the Grateful Dead, and they were trying to be reprogrammed and re-energized as this roots rock band. It's Americana, down with the earth kind of band, down like, of the earth kind of band, not down with the earth, but like of the earth kind of band. In a spiritual way, in a roots rock ritual way. And so, because of that, Jack Reiley helped out with some of the lyrics on this album and made them a lot like socially conscious or about ecology, trying to keep them current and not sounding dated. They got rid of the matching suits. They just put on your cool hippie clothes and go out and do your thing and be a good rock band on stage. The results on this album, I feel, while the strong moments are extremely strong, the weak moments are a little weak, and it makes for a really unique listening experience because it's a little jarring at times. And I say that because the first song, I'll do kind of a track-by-track thing. Here's what the back cover looks like, just with the song names on it. The only way I can really explain this album is to go track by track. Because you start with one thing and end with another. And you're kind of like, what is this album at the end? Like, it's really good, but I feel kind of like at a loss for words at the end. So it starts off with a song called Don't Go Near the Water that Mike and Al did about keeping the water clean. And Al's got this really cool bridge part where, it says that soap and water and toothpaste makes the ocean a bubble bath. Like, the way he sings that is really fun. Beautiful ending on that song with the harmonies. It's really peaceful, calm coda. Long Promised Road, the song that's on now. Carl played every instrument on this song. And obviously the other guys helped him with the vocals on it, but him and Jack Reiley did the words. But he recorded every instrument, and it sounds awesome. Like, he was a really decent drummer, and his lead guitar skills are great. The Moog synthesizer on this song sets a really cool tone that I wish they would have done more of. That really works well for them, especially for Carl's soulful voice. That thing. That thing's awesome. So cool. Take a Load Off Your Feet. This is one of the weaker songs of the album for me. They did this like voice pitch thing where they changed the tempo to make them sound like chipmunks or like younger versions of themselves. It's okay. I think it would have been better as a B-side or on an EP or something, but you know, after Don't Go Near the Water and Long Promised Road, you get this kind of like jokey song. You're like, nah, this doesn't fit that well. It's definitely an earworm. Like, it sticks in your head. You know, it sticks in your head. You know, take a load off your feet. Better watch me eat, Pete. Disney Girls, 1957. This is a Bruce Johnson song, and he had been starting to show off his writing chops on 2020, and especially on Sunflower, but now on this album. I think Disney Girls is one of the best songs he ever wrote. It's totally not psychedelic, not trippy, not of its time. It's this nostalgic, syrupy, sappy Bruce Johnson type song. But it works. When I was in high school hearing this song, I thought it was the lamest, cheesiest thing I've ever heard. And I was like, my God, how could they put this on an album? But as I've gotten older, I see the magic of the song, especially the background vocals during the choruses. Mind-blowing. They're so good. Yeah, really, really good song. One of the strongest on the album. Student Demonstration Time is a remake of Cell Block Number 9, that old 50s song, with new words about students and their demonstration time, and it's definitely of its era, and there's definitely some good lines in there. But overall, a little cheesy, little on the cheesy side. Feel Flows, fantastic Carl song, great song, really atmospheric, really light, really spiritual. Like, his voice is soulful, and that really conveys. It just works well for him. Great song. Looking at Tomorrow, a Welfare song. It's an Al Jardine song. Kind of a bizarre track. I don't know how I feel about this song. It definitely doesn't sound like a Beach Boys song at all. It's got this really steel, like, unwelcoming guitar sound and this really creepy melody. Every time I hear it, I'm like, do I like this song or do I not like this song? I'm still trying to figure that one out. The next song on the album, ouch. The next song on the album, A Day in the Life of a Tree. This has been written about countless times as, like, you either love this song, you hate this song. It's super important to this album and about Brian Wilson, or it's not important at all and you think it's annoying. Again, another song I don't know how I feel about because the ending is really great with Van Dyke Parks coming in, and Al doing that Lay Me Down part. But with Jack Reiley singing it, it's really shaky and really not a good blend. And that's just my opinion. If you like it, awesome. But I'm not feeling this one too much. At one point I read something where Al was like, yeah, none of us wanted to sing it because it was too depressing, so he made Jack Reiley sing it. And it's like, then just don't put it on the album. And then the last two songs, Till I Die and Surf's Up, absolute brilliance. Brian Wilson, absolute brilliance. Till I Die is one of the most beautiful, heart-wrenching songs I've ever heard, let alone a Beach Boys song. It's just so simple and pure and so wrought with emotion that it can well you up, because, like, here's this guy completely at the end of his rope, realizing how small he is in the world, like, you know, how small he is in the universe. Truly a statement, and truly just an amazing triumph of a song. Surf's Up came from the Smile album. This version's a little different. Carl sings the verses, and then Brian came back to kind of finish it off and give it an ending and all that kind of stuff. But Jack was like, look, we got to get Surf's Up on this album. And Brian was like, I don't want it on the album. Like, I want nothing to do with Smile. Please stop talking to me about Smile. And at the end, he was kind of coaxed into doing it. He was kind of like, all right, if you'll force me to do it, then I'll put Surf's Up on the album. The thing is, by the time you get to these two last songs, after listening to the entire album, so, you know, you got, you know, a Mike vocal, a Carl, Brian and Al, a Bruce, Mike, Carl, you kind of forget Brian's in the band because he's not really present. Like, he's doing the background stuff, but as far as the lead vocal, he's not really there, and his presence isn't really felt because a lot of these songs aren't his songs. when you get to these last songs, you're like, my God, Brian was such a great musician, and like the other guys are too. And this is a great triumph of an album, of a band in transition trying to do something new and exciting and stay relevant. And these songs are definitely strong contenders. Long Promised Road is a bloody amazing song. Disney Girls is a great song. Feel Flows is a great song. But you get to these last two Brian Wilson tracks and you're like, man, that's why I got into this band in the first place, was Brian Wilson and his production and the way he writes songs. And then you kind of like, you know, if you have that CD or something and it goes back to Don't Go Near the Water, you're like, what the hell is this again? Like, you're kind of like taken aback. So Surf's Up Until I Die stick out like a sore thumb in the fact that their greatness is so great. Like, they're just great songs. This is a really interesting album. You know, I really gotta give this album credit because it was meant to be their comeback, to become relevant and artistic and grow. And I feel like this was one of the last times they showed this, because their next album was good, but kind of a mixed bag of stuff, and then Holland was amazing. But as far as like anything with Brian's involvement in putting a song on the album, this is kind of the end of the rope before you get to like Beach Boys Love You and stuff like that. But as far as them trying to like gain their popularity back and stay relevant, this era, you know, 70 to 73, was very important for them. And you know, it's a shame that people don't know more about this stuff. But you know, that's why I'm on YouTube doing this. So I highly recommend this album. I think it's great. I mean, it's a great, enjoyable listen. I think I've said the word great 1,000 times in this review. If I had to rate it out of a 10, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. It's lacking Dennis Wilson. You know, he recorded 2 amazing songs, 4th of July and Wouldn't It Be Nice to Live Again, and he wanted that song to be the last song, and Carl said, no, we want Surf's Up to be the last song. And as far as 4th of July, apparently the rest of the band was like envious that he wrote something so good. And because of that, neither of his songs ended up on this album. But thank God we have Take a Load Off Your Feet, Pete. Like, I don't know. I mean, this is one of those things with the Beach Boys albums. There's always so many songs left off the album that should have been on an album and never made it. But that's just kind of how their legend goes. So, anyways, a band in transition, trying to figure out their place in the world with a manager who's trying to help them do that. They crafted an album that was socially conscious and of its time, and really showed an artistic triumph, continuing to grow without their leader, you know, behind the wheel, trying to do it on their own. They're all equal players. No one really stands out until you get to those last 2 songs and you realize that Brian's still there. But yeah, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. Great album. I don't think I have anything else more to say about it. It's just, if you haven't heard it, please listen to it. Please listen to it. There's some amazing songs that are absolute Beach Boys standards that are just like, if you're getting into the Beach Boys, Long Promised Road, Till I Die, Surf's Up, Feel Flows, Disney Girls, those should be on your list of songs to definitely check out. So, my name is Giggens. This has been Surf's Up by the Beach Boys. Kind of an ironic title, especially with Don't Go Near the Water as the first song. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.